There is really nothing new to say about the M3 MacBook Air. This is exactly the same as the previous one, and only as M3. Even the RAM and memory of its basic version still follows Apple's old and hated policy. So, what are we going to talk about in this video? Boring things. The design is no different from the previous generation, although this is not too bad. It is still available in two sizes, 15 and 13 inches. The body is completely aluminum and the design is minimal, very slim and light, and now according to Apple, an anti-fingerprint coating has been applied on it, which doesn't do magic, but it is better than the previous generations. There is no change inside the laptop, and this is still not bad news. A large glass trackpad, very smooth and sensitive, located at the bottom and in the middle, and a keyboard with great depth and normal sound located in front of it. The bezels of the display have not changed, like the display itself. It was expected to get closer to the Pro model, but it didn't happen. A high-quality IPS LCD 2K 225 ppi display with 500 nits of brightness and HDR support is placed on this laptop. It has all the features of a good display, such as 100% DCI-P3 and True Tone support. Except for one. The refresh rate of this little one is 60Hz, and this is not good at all. Yes, I know this is not gaming and it is not supposed to be 240Hz, but 90Hz is really not much to expect at this price. Its 4 speakers, as expected, have good loud and bassy sound and are sharp at the same time. They also support spatial audio and Dolby Atmos. Its webcam is really better than Windows laptops, so you don't need a separate camera for video calls and normal tasks. But still, don't expect too much. Connection is where we see some improvement. We have Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 6E here, to Thunderbolt 3 with a speed of 40 gigabits per second, and 3.5mm audio jack with support for high-definition sound. And finally, a popular and lovely MagSafe 3. There are enough ports for an Ultrabook. Also in closed mode, you can connect the laptop to two monitors, one 6K, one 5K, both 60Hz. In open mode, it is no different from the previous generation, just a 6K monitor. We have reached the most important part of this laptop, the hardware, where the progress is respectable. M3 chip includes 8 CPU cores, 4 P cores and 4 E cores, 8 or 10 GPU cores, 16 neural engine cores, and 8 to 24 GB of RAM. M3 has a separate processing part for ray tracing and can decode AV1 content. The memory is of SSD type, and the problem of the speed of the basic version of previous generation have been solved. RAM speed is quite satisfactory for an ARM architecture laptop, 100 gigabits per second. In the Geekbench 6 benchmark, the power of the single-core M3 is about 19% better than the previous generation and almost the same amount better than the Intel processor. Although I must mention that this should be compared to the Core Ultra, which has not yet entered the market seriously. Its multi-core performance is 24% better than M2 and 8% faster than Intel. In the Cinebench R23 benchmark, the difference with Core i7 is much smaller. And in multi-core, Intel wins by 70%. It's not just weird to you, it was so weird to me that I checked multiple sources and I still think it's a mistake. In terms of graphic, M3 is 20% faster than M2, and if I want to compare it with 4050, it is really weaker. It is even weaker in terms of features. But if we want to go to the real world, this is a completely fanless and silent Ultrabook that is suitable for editing work up to 4K and graphic work and even light 3D design. Whenever you want to disconnect it from the adapter, you won't have any loss of performance, while the performance of the other competitors drops drastically in this case. But not everything is so good. M3 heats up more than M2 and has more performance loss. You will feel its heat, but it is not so hot that you can't use. Also, don't consider 8GB of RAM as a small problem. You will definitely be in trouble. In heavy work, you cannot get the real power of the laptop. You might say that memory swipe solves the problem, but not at all. First of all, memory swipe is nothing new. Secondly, it greatly reduces the life of SSD. And thirdly, SSD speed is 5% of RAM speed. The fourth architecture is ARM and doesn't have separate memory for graphics, and its RAM consumption is actually more than Windows. If you don't have a problem with all this, the softwares are developing every day and need more RAM. 8GB definitely has no future. M3 MacBook Air comes with macOS Sonoma and is usually supported for 5 to 7 years. In short, if you use other Apple devices, the compatibility between them will be unique. If you do editing and design work, it is one of the main choices. In daily use, I prefer Windows right now, but Mac is easier and it depends on you in programming. But if you are a gamer or an engineer, definitely don't look for a MacBook, especially the Air version. Not that you can't at all, but you should definitely choose a better one. But the M3 battery is definitely unbeatable at this price, whether as an ultrabook or a simple laptop. Do not doubt at all. It has 18 hours of continuous video playback, or in other words, it will last you a full day in semi-heavy usage, which is unmatched. The charger inside the box is 70 watts, and it fully charged the 52.6 watt-hours battery in less than 1.5 hours. If you have an M2 MacBook Air or even an M1, don't even think about this laptop. But if you're going to buy a MacBook, there are 2 choices for you, or maybe even 3 choices. First of all, don't go for the basic MacBook at all. It's just a mistake. If you can, spend $200 more and buy the 16GB version. Or even if you can't, buy the 16GB RAM M2 version. If you find a first-hand M1 Pro MacBook Pro at a good price, you won't regret thinking about it. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like it, and if you like my content, subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you next video.